going through the spirit of agoraphobia. Sister Sula, would you like to say it in Greek?
Agraphobia.
Huh?
In Greek, agraphobia.
Agraphobia, okay, there we go. Agoraphobia. Now, it's part of this book, which is the spirit of schizophrenia. And I'm going to say it in English, sorry, but agoraphobia, can I do that, if you don't mind? So, last time I was here, a quick recap. The last time I was here, we spoke about the spirit of schizophrenia, and we went into details to understand that schizophrenia is a spirit out to torment and to bring about destruction within us, as well as the life of others around us. Now, the spirit of schizophrenia distorts our perception of reality and causes us to act out in violence and frustration due to the constant torment of thoughts and voices. It is a spirit that invites a legion of more demons into our lives by causing more hurt, confusion, and disruption. This spirit will stop at nothing until we are destroyed. That's the kind of quick overview of what we went through last time. Now, the spirit of agoraphobia is slightly similar to schizophrenia, but instead of bringing confusion to our mind by blurring reality, agoraphobia makes us perceive our environment to be unsafe and hostile with no easy way to escape. It's as if the mind is shoved in a corner by a bully with no way out and no one around to help. So instead of confusion, with schizophrenia is anxiety and fear. So thank you for praying, because you confirmed it as well, because you were praying against the spirit of fear, which is what I'm teaching today. Now, what does agoraphobia mean? Agoraphobia is a fear of being in situations where escape might be difficult or that help wouldn't be available if things go wrong. Now, I want to start with a testimony. Before I did any type of deliverance, especially from the spirit of rejection, there were times where I honestly was afraid to go out, and I was afraid to be around people. Now, I wasn't afraid of people because I was afraid that they would hurt me or I would get robbed or something like that, but rather I was afraid that when people saw me, they would see me. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, but they would see me for the person that I thought I was. When they looked at me, and I was afraid of what they were thinking about me. And this really all started when I started to smoke weed in college. Not only did the spirit of schizophrenia show its face, but also agoraphobia through paranoia. And during and after smoking, I would get demonic voices in my head telling me things about people. I would make fun of them in my head, and sometimes it came out as a joke to my friends and to make my friends laugh. But very quickly, those voices turned against me. They were making fun of me, telling me that my friends knew those things too, and were secretly laughing behind my back when I wasn't with them, and they would talk and laugh about me. It's kind of like being bullied by your own mind. It's a very horrible thing to go through, if I can put it that way, like being bullied by your own mind. And I had such negative thoughts that would flood my mind, including suicidal thoughts, which didn't give me a great outlook on life, and I pretty much hated myself. That was the old me. But the testimony is that I can gladly say that God has delivered me from that fear and low self-esteem, and He has shown me His love, so that I can never hate myself because He loves me so much. And I can say with utmost certainty that He loves you all the same. Amen. But what there's a specific fact in there that I want to highlight, is that I did it to myself. I opened those doors. Sometimes, and I'm not sure why I feel led to go in this direction, but sometimes we tend to point fingers. The devil is really attacking me, or God is really testing me. But sometimes I think we should look at ourselves and think, hang on here. Am I doing the right thing? Is there a reason why I am struggling? Is there something that I'm doing that is wrong? Instead of going around and pointing the finger. The choices we make have consequences, both good and bad. I chose to go into drugs, which brought about depression, anxiety, and many different spirits. But then I also chose to bring it to God and confess what I had done. And in doing so, God has restored what the locust had stolen and more through deliverance. And I suggest that if you are hiding anything, which was confirmed by Pastor when he mentioned before, I suggest that if you're hiding anything, don't be ashamed about it, because God knows it already, so bring it to Him so that you can be free. And Pastor always likes to say about Paul is, check your heart, check yourself, and know which direction you are headed. Now, how do we open the door to agoraphobia? There are four main ways that doors open, generally. Through ignorance, which means not knowing it's wrong. So drug abuse, alcohol abuse, as well as antidepressants. So I'm talking about those outside, not in the church. The good and the bad drugs, so antidepressants. I made a note of what it was, but so drug abuse, alcohol abuse, as well as antidepressants. Another way that doors may be open is through rebellion. Rebellion means knowing it's wrong yet still doing it, which is one of the main things is sexual immorality. And for me, when I think of rebellion, it's like living in a nice, comfortable home, but looking outside and wanting to be on the street. That's the way I see rebellion. Another way that doors may become open is simply spirits being passed down the generational line, such as idolatry and the sins of the fathers. Now, all of these kind of categories rest in the shade under the umbrella of our mutual friend called, anybody guess? I'll say it again. All of these rest in the shade under the umbrella of our mutual friend called rejection. Fantastic. You were listening. Now, through rejection, every other spirit follows. And these spirits like to pass us around, like a joint where, that we used to do in school, right? They like to pass us around in a cycle. You get rejected, then you find yourself comfort eating, then you smoke or drink something to forget, yet that doesn't satisfy us. So we go into sexual immorality, and that doesn't satisfy us. So we go into more drugs and more immorality and so on and so forth. And by doing so, we open more doors and there are windows, and we open them to many different spirits, including agoraphobia. Now this cycle, I didn't write this here, but it just came to me now. This cycle was very demonic. That's when you know there's something wrong in your life, when it's like a cycle of things, because in all of us, there is a hole in us, in every person, that is God-shaped. I don't know if you mentioned this to me. It's like a God-shaped hole. So when we don't look at Jesus and we look at things in the world that we think are going to fill that hole, we can never be filled. Only God can fill us in that hole.
Amen.
Now, how does agoraphobia affect us? Fear of what people think, as I mentioned before, nightmares, fear of death, panic, fear of something happening to your children, fear of losing someone, torments of fear, bitterness towards God and bitterness towards our loved ones, anger, frustration, and madness. Now, I wanted to make a point here. Some may look at a few things on this list and think, well, that's not bad. I mean, obviously you don't want anything to happen to your children. But the point is that obviously you don't, but you don't want to live in the fear that something might happen. And this is why I don't really like the English language. Anybody doesn't like the English language? I'm French. I don't like the English, sorry, Sister Sean. The English language, of course. It's not emotional. It doesn't have very deep meaning to it. When you bump into them on the train, you say sorry. That sorry doesn't mean sorry. It means, oh, I didn't see you. Or you say, I love my cat, I love my dog. But you don't love them. You just, affectionate. It's a very weird language anyway. Fear, or in, of course, the amazing and fantastic Greek language is phobia. There we go, phobia, which means an extreme or irrational fear of something. It is when we are gripped in terror and we make mental or even physical preparation for the worst possible outcome. It's a horrible way to live, living with an ungodly expectation that something will go wrong. It's like living, what's that thing that they call? Like, on survival mode. Like you're always on edge, you're always like fight or, what's it called? Fight or flight, something like that. It's basically always living like that, and you can't have rest. Obviously, we need to be wise in our decisions.